Hi Leo, here is a general look at your solar chart for October 2014, and this is an overview for the month regarding the eclipses and the configuration in the sky, the grand fire trine. And if you've seen the other video I made about the eclipses of 2014, which will have gone up about the same time as this one, you'll have more of an understanding about what they've been trying to help us with, show us, and how we could have been working with them. October is the culmination of the eclipse cycle in 2014, and actually it's quite unusual in that it has two eclipses in the same month. And of course, October is the month when Uranus and Pluto come in pretty strong again as well. So the first is a lunar eclipse on October the 8th, and this lunar eclipse is in Aries in a very good angle to your sun sign. And one thing about it is that it is connected to the planet Uranus. So this might mean kickstarts or new beginnings, or like an ongoing situation, maybe from the time of the last new moon, which was at the back end of September, maybe before, which then shifts into a new gear. And this is your area to do with communications, education, but also the word across the wider stage. It's also to do with legal issues. And the word across the wider stage, it might be that you are pondering, you know, they say you shouldn't believe everything you read, and there is an awful lot of information flying around that we can so easily access now. So different to the days when I was in my 20s, 30s, or even 40s, when, you know, it was snail mail. There was no IT, there was no instant messaging, there was no constant barraging of our left brains with information and others' opinionated views, and perhaps not very highly informed views, and people who jump the gun with what they're wanting to say. And then it depends always, you know, how we are receiving this. And many of the human population are maybe receiving it and they're already pent up, or in a fever, or, you know, quite fanatical about something. So there is a huge amount of information flying around. So this eclipse may, for you, Leo, have you thinking about sources that you can trust, but also a sort of reason versus intuition, logic versus gut, kind of gut, common sense, right? So and it kind of puts the ball in your court to be honest with yourself. Also, this is about relationships related to that area, communications in general, legal issues, higher education. It's also to do with travel. It's to do with contacts with foreign lands. It's to do with contacts with those at a distance from you. So this eclipse is a neutral energy of change, really, but because it's pinned to Uranus, if you're coming at something in a fresher mood, you know, this energy of Uranus, which is the planet of revolution, and awakening. So you awakening to a new way of doing it, or to a new way of feeling, or a new way of being, or just new ideas bubbling up, and maybe you feeling quite enthusiastic about things because of the very positive angle this eclipse is to your sign. The fresher you'll feel, the clearer you'll be about what change you would like to initiate, because eclipse energy, being a neutral energy of change, just allows you to, almost like you push your foot down on the clutch, open up the gears, and then decide which gear you're going to put your gear stick into, according, of course, to the speed you're already running at. So this is a time for you to make a positive move in a positive right direction. And if you do that within the 24 hours of the eclipse, That's to say, in the run-up, really, to the eclipse, rather than after. Although if you're quick, you can do it just after. But really and truly, it should be before the eclipse. Then that energy will roll out over a month or more, depending on your natal chart, over into the future. So, and you, the creative sign, although all signs are creative, but you are known for wanting to mirror through what you shape in the world yourself back to yourself, to know who yourself is. I mean, basically, you are ruled by the sun, and the sun just sits at the center of the solar system, and all the other planets run around it. So, but I suppose we could say that the sun is learning from the experiences, in a way, of the other planets. Indeed, the sun actually doesn't just sit. The sun is also moving around a huge galactic sun as well. So nothing is static and nothing is fixed in this very, very creative universe, which is creating through all eternity, just expanding and expanding and expanding and expanding and expanding and expanding, spiraling, 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 spiraling. So you in your life can be, the creator through the small channel of your own self, your own body, your own mind, your own spirit, your own emotions, your own life. And a very helpful energy for you, really. And then the next eclipse is with the sun. That's a solar eclipse on October the 23rd, right at the very beginning of Scorpio, which has been hosting Saturn for so long. But actually this eclipse is conjuncting Venus. So it's really quite nice that Venus Venus is close with this energy of change on the 23rd. So they're both at the very beginning of Scorpio, and at the moment Saturn is towards the end of the sign of Scorpio, going into the last bit of Scorpio before it leaves temporarily at the end of the year. So for a long time, Scorpio in your chart is at the root of your sun sign chart, to do with the past, ghosts, kind of the past, skeletons rattling in the closet sometimes over 2014 and 2013 as well. The past impacting the present, past relationships, past traditions, history, and also parents. It can be connected to do with guardians and parents and the relationship with those. And so this eclipse here, again, the eclipse energy being the energy of change, will help you if you have maybe confronted yourself and been honest with yourself in these past few months, to do with the Saturn transit in here, maybe through adverse situations sometimes. And it's also to do with property, place on the map, that kind of thing, where you're living, the neighborhood. So if you've sifted through things and confronted yourself about old stuff maybe, and you've been working at tying up loose ends, then this eclipse will help you change the gear to go into the next area. And you will, even though this is a very sensitive area, it's about deep emotional attachments to either a place, a territory, or people, you will be able to move forwards. It's also to do with debts, what is owed, what is due, and that can be in a financial sense, but that can be also in a moral kind of way as well. So that anyway, this eclipse, which is a trickier area for you than the lunar eclipse, is going to help you to move forwards. If again you use the eclipse energy in the way suggested for the lunar eclipse, which is in the 24 hours of the eclipse, just sitting down and writing a statement of intent would be enough, but doing one positive thing in the direction of how you would like it to unfold and roll out over the 6 to 12 months to come after that solar eclipse. And then, to cap it all, in October there is this grand fire trine which came in late September and is around for the first part of October. And this is really a gift. Again, it involves your sign with Jupiter, Mars in Sagittarius, and Uranus in Aries. So those are all the three fire signs. That's the full suit. And there is an inspiring, glittering planet at each one of the points of this great triangle, and one of the points of the triangle is being flooded with the wave of energy of change and stimulating it with the eclipse energy, and that will be on October the 8th. So this is very full of promise for the future. There's a renewed hope here. There's a feeling of again, like I say, tying up of the past, sort of moving forwards then in a fresher kind of a way. And there's a little bit of magic with this one. So this is the moment to take a leap of faith. This is the moment to have faith and to move forwards. It's a very enterprising energy. It's almost like a pioneering energy. It's a creative energy. It can be quite a daring energy. So watch that space. Now, having said all that, anything to do with Uranus will have a bit of Uranus, is about reinvention. Uranus is about freedom, more freedom, and to be oneself in the way one wants to be in relationships. So, within the parameters of certain relationships, but that doesn't mean being hemmed in. But at the moment, with such a close contact with Pluto, there is a little bit of a tax on freedom. And so it will mean that something is, some ballast is dropped. Some clutter is let go of. I mean, it'd be good if that was weight, maybe, if you were on a diet, because it could be. Or it can be, an old setup, an old attachment, an old place on the map, an old family dynamic, sort of let go because there's something new coming in here. And so that's the bit of the sort of the kind of the payment on that freedom. And of course, it always relies upon your natal chart and the aspects of the transits or the eclipses in the natal chart to know how things are really going to be panning out, or to get just an idea of how they might be panning out over the month or months to come. Now, what else is going on in your chart for October 2014, Leo? Well, it's really a mentally busy time. In lots of ways, and there could be more comings and goings, maybe, but it's also quite a creative time as well, which is what you like. So probably running around more, meeting and greeting, maybe meeting new people, making new contacts, but also maybe paperwork, schedules, itineraries, timetables, that kind of thing as well. Venus is in the same area as the Sun until the 24th, which is very nice. It makes it a very supportive, sociable time, and you can be more articulate and fluent in your self-expression at this time. And you can do well with daily encounters, but also if you have to float a concept or apply for something, then you can be very persuasive, or negotiate maybe. You can be very persuasive with this energy here. But also it's a nice energy for connecting with people like soul brothers and sisters. It's also a very nice energy for actual siblings as well, and supportive, warm interchanges with those. And you can tend to do or get more access to arts and entertainment, that kind of thing, or indeed do some of your own. Your sign is related to performance, so with this energy here, you can be really enjoying your ability there, but also developing and capitalizing upon things in that very communicative connections orientated sector, and it's also to do with education as well, educational pursuits, so learning stuff which you're enjoying, and also sharing your knowledge with others. Until the 11th, discussions could be centered around family matters, property, place on the map, everything to do with the property, like what's in it, and so on as well. But also you can be harking back to the past a little bit there. You can be feeling a little bit emotional, perhaps at times a bit nostalgic at times, and there could be communications with relations or parents, or get a blast from the past in another kind of a way. And perhaps you are also considering or mulling over a tradition or a legacy of some kind to do with the past. But it tends to be quite a sociable, busy time in and around the base of operations, wherever you are, if you're not at home, or not very far away, you know, like within your locality. But then Mercury goes retrograde on the 11th and goes back into Libra, into a very outgoing, chatty area, the same area as the Sun. And then we have the Sun and Venus and Mercury all in the same place, although Venus is slowing things down a little bit, so maybe you can't catch up with that person, or that person hasn't been able to catch up with you, or you have to think again about schedules, itineraries, you have to think again about anything to do with travel, or indeed transport, vehicles, communications equipment, that kind of thing. But it is a great time to be making connections, learning new stuff, sharing stuff, and in person or over the wires, very much to do with the wires that connect us all up across the world these days. Then the Sun moves. The Sun moves on the 23rd, followed very quickly by Venus on the 24th, into an area which is putting more of your focus in and around the base of operations, more to do with property matters for some of you, buying, selling, managing things to do with the home, the space, the garden, anything inside or outside. But also it is to do with family connections, and your gaze will tend to be more into this private area of life, and more inwards to do with the past and how things were, and maybe it's easier to push your buttons. Maybe that knee-jerk response from the past, to do with the past, is near the surface now. But you tend to be feeling things more deeply in general. So whatever it's about in this area, with the Sun here, just listen to your instincts. With Venus there as well, Venus tends to balance things up, meaning that you are enjoying a space or a property more, or you are capitalizing upon what's going on within the vicinity of where you are, or maybe you are a visitor to other places that you really quite like, or indeed others are visiting into your space, and it's just more interesting and supportive in and around the home base. But as I say, you might not be at home. It might be another kind of HQ that you are at. Until the 26th, Mars is in a very spontaneous, almost playful, childlike area for you. It can also be a romantic area as well, giving you the trigger to be more in the mood to take a chance on love, or to speculate and invest in other kinds of ways, whether that is in a monetary sense, or whether that is just your enthusiasm, your energy, your vision, your talent. But don't risk what you can't afford to lose, of course. You know, always have a backup plan, because this area is a little bit about taking a gamble on something. However, the competitive juices are flowing, and whatever's going on, you could feel more in the swim, more in your power. Whatever is going on could be empowering and helping you to feel proud, or to feel rewarded by what you're doing. And also you could be center stage. This could be, because Mars is here, the way this can work for you is that all eyes are on you for some reason. So you're really getting a kick out of that, but and it could be for whatever the reason, whether that's because you're in the performance industry or leisure, or indeed you're looking into the eyes of a little baby, and you get that focus, so that absolute innocent, beautiful, loving focus coming towards you. So it can be, the eyes of a lover as well. I mean, you choose. It can be whatever you like, and wherever you're at on your timeline. So, but you may be more in the mood to take an outside chance at this time, more in the mood to take a chance on something, yeah. And then from the 26th, Mars is in a sector which emphasizes the practical side of life, health matters. So following up on any bright ideas from when Mars was in the previous sector, and saying, okay, put your money where your mouth is, or walk your talk, or you just have to consider how to manage, operate in a practical sort of a way, fix, maintain, repair things, all to do with the details of daily life and daily duties and methodologies. It's a very productive house, and you are just keeping a weather eye on things, but also you're having maybe to connect more with service providers or people who are useful. But also others at this time can see you as providing the service, can see you as the useful one. It's to do with employment and job. So if it's Mars, it means that you have more demand put on you physically to work harder, more demand to take a decision and to follow up on that with action in this area here. And be more of a self-starter. Don't let others hold you back, but be more of a self-starter with the job or to do with health matters. And doing things more in your own way, maybe. Now, Saturn is also in this, Saturn is not also in this area. Saturn is at the root of your chart, meaning that dust swept under the carpet from the past is now kind of emerging and coming up to the surface. And there's been a lot going on over the last 2 years, as it will be when October rolls around, where you have been cleaning up your act there to do with the past, and also just the universe really helping you to clean up your act. And therapeutic work can trigger inner change. Externally, a body-centered approach can also, through healthy practices, through the right sort of exercise regime, help you to build better emotional and physical foundations for yourself. But you will have been working harder to do with family dynamics, to do with meeting your obligations, to do with your domestic setup, your neighborhood, your neighbors, maybe, and tying up, as I say, things to do with the past. And you, Leos, born in at the end of the middle 10 days or the beginning of the last 10 days, are going to feel this energy the most. That's with 19 to 25 degrees rising. And Jupiter is in your sign. So this is definitely the big banner across the sky that says this is your year for a growth spurt. Well, it will be up until next August anyway, and you will be sifting the wheat from the chaff, because the energy of abundance and expansion will be very accentuated in your life. And you will be on quite a learning curve, so more connection with unusual places, unusual people, unusual concepts, perhaps more travel, more tapping into an area that you are that gives you more of an overview and is not, you're not so buried down in the small stuff. So this is your opportunity to think bigger, to learn new things. Maybe some of you go into formal education, or just because Jupiter is the learning through doing planet, you're just learning a heck of a lot with Jupiter in your sign over these, as it will be from October, around about 9-10 months. And reach for the golden ring on the merry-go-round of life. And you Leos born in the middle 10 days or the beginning of the last 10 days, or with 15 to 21 degrees rising, are going to feel this energy the most this month. And that's it for October. If you know your rising sign or your moon sign, listen to those. And also because it's really hard across the world at the moment with this higher frequency, this brighter light, as it were, this very rarefied light that is infusing our planet, suffusing our planet. I do work with guides, so I asked my guides to if they would like to give a message, and it's a very short message, about 1.5 minutes long, so you might like to find that somewhere and listen to that. And I'll see you the next time.